eating ass.
Yeah.
Just don't eat ass
Yeah.
unless you like it. If you like it, eat all the ass. and that is the tip of the day.
Tip of the day. Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Charlie.
And welcome to Outsmarting the Shadows, where we help you survive horror movies.
That we do. And with little Milo here too.
Yes.
He's upset because we're not petting him.
Yes. He's been upset for like 30 minutes while we prep. So, yesterday we covered episodes 4 through 6 of The Fall of the House of Usher. And today, the final
2 episodes.
Yes, 7 and 8. And this show did not disappoint me.
Yeah, you did? You think?
I thought it was a great ending.
Yeah.
So, wait a minute.
Before we go into it,
because
spoilers.
There's spoilers everywhere. We're going to spoil everything. So, we highly recommend this show, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So
Although I do think that all the scares are jump scares.
Yeah, I mean, you know that I disagree a little on this.
Yeah.
But they did kind of try to get you.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the show, it's streaming on Netflix. It is, in my opinion, amazing. I would consider it a drama horror, like a gothic drama horror.
It goes in line with the Haunting on Hill House and the Haunting on Bly Manor. I think it's the same director, right?
It is, yeah.
Almost all the same actors of those 2 series.
Mike Flanagan. He directs this and he does those other shows as well. He's kind of known for a lot of introspective, deep drama horror. I don't remember. Do you remember if the Haunting of Hill Manor or whatever that show was? Do you remember if that had jump scares?
They did, but in some of the aspects of those shows, there's kind of like that tension of something's coming. And this one is just they're talking, bam, jump scare.
That's true. I mean, now that I'm thinking back, remember the crooked neck lady?
The crooked neck lady?
Crooked neck lady. So remember the little girl was seeing visions of a woman who was hanging? And
Never
mind, we're not going to spoil that.
Right? Listen, that's a different show.
Right, that's a different show. So, but the reason why I'm referencing that is, it seems like, so if you cared about these characters, which we did not.
Yeah, you don't care about them.
You don't care about any of them.
You just want them to die.
Right?
All of them.
So if you cared about them.
I'm just upset that he got to live to old age.
I know.
Oldish.
Like 70.
Like 60. No, I think he was 60, 70, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was 60, it was a rough 60.
It was a rough.
Yeah.
But if you cared about these characters, I wonder if it would have been the same atmosphere. Because in the other show, we cared about all those characters, and that's probably why the tension was there.
Yeah.
And in this one, they tried to build it a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, the scenes were horrific, but only because I associate them with Edgar Allan Poe from listening to those stories when I was a kid.
The only character I cared for, and she was just not a lot of on-screen time, which kind of sucks, is his wife.
Juno.
Yeah, Juno. That's
and Lenora.
Juno, yeah. Those are the only 2 characters I really kind of like cared for.
Yeah. And it was, so you guys have watched the show.
Right. Spoiler. There's going to be spoiled from here on out.
You've come back. You've watched the show.
Yes, you have.
Lenora's dead.
Yeah, she's dead. She died. She died in her sleep. Well, the lady touched her and then she went to sleep.
Her with her little finger.
Yeah, the Anunnaki. I still hold firm that they're Anunnakis.
Okay, so since the last episode, you've been talking about Anunnakis for a few episodes, and I did a ton of research on Anunnakis, like a ton. Like, I went deep dive into, like...
Did you see any of the conspiracy theories YouTube videos on it?
I saw one.
Yeah?
But I didn't see any more than that, but I, did a ton of reading on it.
Uh-huh.
Man, we gotta see Anunnaki stuff.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
This lady, she's an Anunnaki.
Yeah.
She refers to humans as, you plebs, you humans.
Yeah.
Like something, like they live kind of like in the center of the universe or away from time and space, kind of like in the earth or something like that, where she says, I just came up to Just
to observe.
Just to observe you humans.
Your humans, when Arthur Pym and his expedition had come out like a virus across the world.
Right, and she's like, I just wanted to see what you guys would do.
Right. It's so interesting. So that scene with Arthur Pym and, well, I guess I call her the Death Lady.
Yeah, I call her the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki. So that scene with, she shall hence be forth known as the Anunnaki in this show.
Yes, the Anunnaki lady.
Right. In the show, her name is Verna.
Verna.
But Anunnaki for us. So when Arthur Pym goes to the address of Roderick's old childhood home, which was on Verna's driver's license, so he's like, I'm going to take care of this my way.
The lawyer.
Mark
lawyer. Hamill.
Yes. I am duly impressed with that entire interaction from the very get-go, where he's like, I'm gonna kill her, easy, simple, easy peasy.
I killed her, I wrapped her up really, really efficiently and really quick,
He lets her walk in, he injects her, and then she just falls immediately on a well-made tarp.
Right.
I mean, it was very efficient, and then of course she disintegrates.
Right, she disappears and appears right in front, and he kind of like gets startled, like what has happened, but then yes, this is happening.
Yeah.
So he just sits down. Okay.
And he accepts it.
Let's have a talk.
I loved her explanation where she was like, I had to let you do it.
Yeah,
I've been watching you for 3 days.
You've been waiting for 3 days, I just wanted to, let you.
I wanted to let you do it because your work is so pristine.
Yeah. And then he goes like, no offense. And he's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then I find it funny that she's like, listen, I can give you an offer too.
Yeah, I can give you an offer.
And I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm not gonna get it.
I'm gonna suffer whatever life gives me.
Yeah, I've never in my 70 years of life have let anybody have leverage over me. I'm not gonna start with you.
And you know what's interesting? She said, basically, she makes deals with the things she knows that people really love. So there is something that Arthur Pym loves.
Yeah, but he never gave it up.
He never gave it up. We never. That was what I wanted to know. Well, what does Arthur Pym really care about?
I have more respect for him than for
anybody else.
Yeah, all the other, I forget
the Usher family.
Any of the Usher family, because
he
was there. Yes, he's an evil person, but he does his job, and to a certain extent, he has morals. He has his own set of morals. He has his own code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I would love is to see an Arthur Pym TV show.
Yeah, right? A show?
A show just about Arthur Pym. I would watch the heck out of that.
Yes. Netflix, make it happen.
Oh, what would be so cool?
They will make it happen. It's Mark Hamill. He's
expensive.
Yeah, he's an expensive actor. But that would be a great show.
Can you imagine he loves the character and he agrees? Kind of like how Johnny Depp plays, like, the pirate, for 15, he's like, I'll do it forever.
Yeah, until he was fired.
Was he fired?
Yes, he was, because of all that, stuff with his ex-wife.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The drama.
Disney, they're like, nope, we're not going to touch you with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, that sucks. Well, just don't poop on people's beds.
Yeah, but he didn't poop on her bed.
I don't know who did
what. She pooped on his bed.
Oh.
I looked at him straight in the eye, kind of like that what Data does. Looks at you straight in the eye. You're like, oh, I'm going to poop. Looking at your eye.
He looks at you like he's initially like, I have to do it, and then please don't be upset with me.
Not Milo here. Milo goes to the door, looks at you like, listen,
I gotta go.
I need to poop.
We're talking about dogs.
So you open that door.
We have dogs.
Yes.
So
now he just wants the pets.
Now he just wants the little pets. So I would love an Arthur Pym story about his interactions with all of the Anunnaki.
But he only interacted with that one.
Well,
he saw her once when he was in his 20s, and then he came across her again when he was going to kill her.
Listen, they don't have to pay for Mark Hamill. What they could do is do a younger version of Arthur Pym as he became Arthur Pym, and then because the Anunnaki are the Anunnaki.
See, but the thing with that is, we already know how Mark Hamill looks in his, 20s.
Oh, that's true.
Who are you going to get?
Oh, baby. The casting department is smart.
Unless they do a deep fake, which that in itself is
expensive.
And there are strikes right now.
Mark Hamill.
There are strikes right now, so that doesn't happen.
Oh, I know. And and my hope is that even though they've already deep faked him once, that he gets some rights. to own his image. Right. But I want to go back to the TV show for a second. So it would be cool to have a previous version, a younger version of Arthur Pym as he's rising up the ranks, and he interacts with the Anunnaki at like every turn, every episode. And in the end, they make a deal with him.
And they always try to make a deal with him.
Right.
It's
and
like, no.
No, but in the end, they do make a deal with him. But the deal is, we are going to fog your memory of us. And it's actually a deal that's in his favor for whatever reason. Like, he gets leverage on them.
Interesting.
Like,
interesting show.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. But going back to the Fall of the House of Usher.
The Fall of the House of Usher.
Episode 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Yes.
So, in episode 7, we finally see the last child of Roderick Usher perish, which is Frederick. And I was waiting for the pendulum.
Right? I thoroughly enjoyed his death.
Yes.
Because for him, she gave him no
quarter, no options.
Choice. In fact, she said, I wasn't going to do it like this, but just because you are you, you just pushed me.
And she kept saying, but you had to bring the pliers into it, didn't you?
Right.
Like, and Jenny goes, I love that she's like, I'm all the more mad because in another life, with this deal not having been done, you would have been a dentist, and for some reason, for me, that makes it worse.
Right? That's what you would have done. You would have been a dentist.
Been a dentist.
A pretty good one.
So it's like blasphemous for you to steal your wife's teeth. So the pendulum, if you're not familiar with Edgar Allan Poe's stories,
Which have we said before, I am not.
You are not. Edgar Allan Poe is a master of horror and tension when it comes to really horrific ways that people die. I used to listen to these as bedtime stories when I was a child. And one of my favorite ones was The Pendulum, which is what happens to Frederick, where there's a man, it's a little bit more straightforward, but there's a man, he's strapped to a table, and they release a pendulum that slowly gets, with every swing, gets slightly closer and closer. And I'm glad that they did the inevitable, it's cut him, but he's not quite dead.
Right.
Because that's going to happen.
He's going to be feeling it. Every stroke.
Every stroke.
Every swing.
You're right. Because I was a little bit worried because the building was coming down that they would just do it once and that would be it.
And then he's done.
But no.
Oh, but he stayed there for a bit. He just felt it as it went down, and then the building fell on him.
His death was the most ironic for me.
Right.
And it was the most deserved, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was awful.
He was an awful person.
Yeah, he really was.
They were all awful.
They were all awful. You want to... Okay.
He's like, I am gone.
Okay, buddy.
Anyways,
so that's what we see as the final child of the Ushers that die. Mm-hmm. And pretty much right after that, they're also trying to hold on to this company. The board has been...
Yeah, it's kind of like a back and forth of, he's the last one, so they can maintain the power. We don't really see all that much of that.
We don't see the board at all, except that Frederick is one of the board members, and he would be the swing vote. And I think it's interesting that even after 5 of his 6 children have died, Roderick doesn't get the hint of maybe you need to stop asking impossible tasks of your children. Mm-hmm. Because he basically yells at Frederick and says, you have to get that building down.
Right.
And I'm like, haven't you learned by now?
Just leave it. What is the building going to do?
Your company and you are separated at this point. There's nothing that's going to happen good. And Madeline is starting to be that rat on the boat. She is jumping ship of the family of the Ushers.
First she made him kill himself. She just doused basically all the pills into his body.
Well, okay. That sort of made sense to me. Mm. I mean, obviously it was very selfish. But it made sense to me, but that wasn't the betrayal I'm talking about first. Mm. The betrayal I'm talking about first is that she says, well, the board is going to oust Roderick no matter what, so I should take his place.
Yeah, and then she
conspires with Arthur.
With Arthur? That's
Arthur Pym.
That's a lawyer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But he of course talks to Roderick about it anyway. Mm. He's like, listen, I serve everybody. Right. I'm not here to wheel and deal, because he's got his own code. But what I loved is when we saw the final deal between the Anunnaki and Roderick and Madeline Usher in that bar in 1980 after they've murdered this man who we'll get into. But that scene helped me to understand why she would ask Roderick to kill himself. Because ultimately the Anunnaki says you both will die at the same time. And if you don't die at the same time, well, she doesn't specifically say that, but she says all the pieces have to be in line, otherwise there's no deal. And remember, the deal was, I'm going to kill every single member of your Usher family. So to a certain extent, Madeline's like, you're saving Lenora, and I guess nobody else at that point.
That was the only one that was
just saving Lenora and me.
You're right, and me. That's what she cared about. It's like and me. But she realized that it was real, and that's why she got an IUD. EUD. What's it called?
Yes, an IUD, where she didn't want to have children. And she trusted it enough when she was young to never have kids and never get attached to anything.
That's why she never had kids. That way, no one will die, just her.
Yeah, and to devote her life to trying to transplant her brain into an artificial intelligence.
Which did not happen. Good, because these are horrible people.
Yeah. It was interesting, the conversation that August Dupin, August Dupin, am I saying that right?
No, probably not. It's French. It's Dupin. Yeah, Dupin.
August Dupin has with Roderick. That's one of my favorite elements of the entire series.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, you get to see. I like August. I felt like it was a story of August trying to get his justice, because he needed justice. It wasn't just for these millions of people that had died. It was also for the personal, just horrificness that Roderick did to him.
Right? Just made him look like a fool. He lost his job. Looks like he lost everything at that point.
Everything. And it took him a while to scrape his way back to become a prosecutor,
right?
Instead of this broken man. And I had a lot of respect for him trying to leave. He tried to leave the conversation.
Yeah, a bunch of times. Like, listen, I don't care. I'm just leaving.
Specifically after he'd heard the story of Frederick's death, he was like, okay, you told me, but I haven't heard anything. None of this, I've already heard these stories. It makes no difference to my case, so I'm going to leave. And then he said, they kind of break, not the fourth wall, but they break the narrative of the tropes by him saying, so I'm going to turn and you're going to convince me, you're going to say something important, and then I'm going to come back and sit down. Is that what's going to happen? And then
he was like, I hope.
It's like, I hope.
But then when he was leaving, the clock started swinging.
Yeah.
Like the Anunnaki didn't want him to go for some reason.
Yes. It was interesting that I felt like when he left, time was restarting. Like time and space was sort of somehow interacting with them again. And that building was literally about to crumble. And if he left,
the building would crumble.
The building would have been done.
Maybe.
So it's interesting when he comes back because Roderick says, you're going to get me on murder.
Yes.
And then he goes into the story of Rufus Griswold.
That's another horrible person.
Another horrible person.
This show is filled with horrible people.
Yeah.
But still, no tips for them.
Oh.
No tips for them because it's good that they died.
So.
I have none.
August Griswold, let's think about this scenario. Let's say you're not August Griswold. You wake up from being drugged. You're chained to a pipe, both sides. Supposedly your feet are chained. And he has
to go the saw way. He has to saw at least one of his arms or both of his arms so he can push against those bricks while they're wet.
Yes, it has to be while they're wet. And he has a certain amount of time, and that's it.
Yeah, but it still wouldn't have happened because she says, do you think he'll scream? She said, no, the cyanide will get him. So they poison him.
Okay, well, you've got cyanide in your system. Let's pretend like the cyanide isn't there, because if you drink cyanide, I'm sorry, folks, there's nothing that we can do.
Yeah. No tips.
No tips.
No, like the bottles when you drink. If you accidentally ingest cyanide, call your nearest.
Right. I guess go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Have anybody ever lived through cyanide poisoning?
I have no idea.
I'm going to find out for our next episode.
Yes, we will.
So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I'll find out who lived, what was their story, how did they do it.
Yeah.
But
so I think the tip to this guy would be just don't be a douche.
Yeah.
Just don't. Just stop it.
Stop it.
Stop. Get some help.
Yeah. Well, you can get out of cuffs if you are able to dislocate or break your thumb.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm guessing it's easier to do that. I mean, is that true? That sounds like a lie.
It sounds like a lie.
Sounds like snake oil.
It sounds like a lie, but I mean...
Sounds like when, someone is coming at you with a knife and you get all Kung Fu Master on them and you don't get cut by the knife. Sounds like that.
That's not real. Anytime someone comes at you with a knife, you're getting cut. I don't care how skilled you are.
That's what I'm saying.
Getting cut.
Now, dislocating your thumb sounds a lot like that.
It does sound a lot like that. I don't know if that's... Well, so you're out here. You're not here. Because here, there's a ton of options. Yeah. There's a ton of options. You've got the shoelace maneuver. You've got all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But here, like... You gotta be really willing to.
Yeah,
rip things.
I think he was, for him. It had to be way before he took the drink. So
yeah, and in the actual Edgar Allan Poe story, the guy is not. I don't think he is chained up at all.
So there's also a story about a guy getting
bricked
up in a wall.
Yes.
Because we talked about the pendulum thing.
Yes.
So there's also a different story about a guy getting bricked up in a wall.
Bricked into a wall.
Okay.
But like somebody is talking to him. He drinks a drink. It's clearly laced with something, and he's slowly waking up, and he's hearing the bricks being put one at a time, like brick after brick after brick after brick.
Okay.
And then he wakes up just as like they're chatting, and he's like, "What?" And the last brick is being laid, and he's still super weak. And he can't really move.
So he doesn't really have a conversation.
Right. He doesn't have much of a conversation. This one was... The thing that I loved about that scene that reminded me of the short poem or the short story is the consistency with which they laid the bricks as they were talking. And that is the most ominous part of that. That it doesn't matter what's being said. The pattern of brick, mortar, brick, mortar. It's just, it's going to happen.
Inevitable.
It's inevitable. It does not matter what you say. You are going to die here. And I was just like, they're doing this brilliantly. And the touch of the what are they, bells?
His
creepy costume.
His little clown costume bells.
That was a nice touch.
It was really a jester.
Yes, it was a jester. Like, and that makes sense because he's the fool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I like that years later, Roderick can still hear the bells
from behind it, and she heard it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little bells from behind. So there's no tips for him. He's just don't be awful.
Don't be awful, but I guess if you're willing to break everything and just dismember your hand, all you need is one.
You think? If he did it too late, remember, it still doesn't matter because he was poisoned with cyanide. So if he did it too late and the concrete set, he needs to really, get some oomph behind himself to break that wall.
I get, well, then I would say all you need is one leg.
But weren't both of his legs also tied?
I'm assuming that they were.
But then if he breaks his leg, all he'll have is a little stump. And just the pain alone, he won't be able to do anything. He just stump it.
little stumpy?
Yeah, a little stumpy.
However, I will say, if it was between me hitting a stump that's like excruciating pain on a slowly like molten brick wall, I'm gonna endure that
I think
pain.
the pain would make you pass out.
I mean, maybe it would, but it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, he actually... So his body... So the brick wall is here. It's not really that far. Technically, I guess he could start bashing it with his face.
Yeah, but...
And he's got a mask on, so he's got a little bit of protection.
Yeah, he had a mask. But what if the mask is made of ceramic and then he just cuts his eyes out?
If you move even a small inch of brick, even if you move it slightly, workers will be there
in a week.
In a week.
You ain't gonna survive in a week with no water, no food, cyanide.
Okay, again, we can't do anything about cyanide, okay? If you have cyanide, you're going to die. But if you don't have cyanide and everything else exists, there is a possibility.
Slim chance.
A slim chance. You could drink your own pee. You could...
How?
I don't know.
First of all, he has pants on. It's being filtered. He's not going to go down and suck on his pants. Oh yeah, it's tasty pee. Let me get it from the pants. That's not going to happen.
Also, here's the other question. Why would they install a brick wall where there's a pipe on the inside of it? That seems inefficient for future maintenance.
But nobody cares. Workers, haven't you seen the TikToks of the inspector guy? People, they don't care. They're just paid by the hour.
I love that he goes, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. Yeah. And it's an inspector. He goes into all the homes and he's like points stuff out and he's like, that ain't right.
Yeah, that ain't right. They don't care. No. They're going to see a straight wall of, oh, that was done. Right? Don't have to work with that no more.
Well, somebody, I forgot doing this. Somebody did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully you never get into that situation. That really stinks. No tips. No tips.
No tips.
And then they go to the bar, and that's when they try to create an alibi, and the Anunnaki is there waiting for them ready.
Yeah, to a fake bar that was just magically appeared. They went in and magically disappeared when they came out.
Yes.
Yeah. It was interesting that in that interaction between the Anunnaki and them, she flinched.
Madeline.
Yeah, she did not take because he was like, I would say it's a done deal. She didn't even think about it. It was like, done deal. Let's do it. I want to rule the world, which we'll get into that, how they're really small-minded. But anyway, he was like, let's do it. And she was like, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, because Madeline initially said, well, it's an interesting proposition, but I'm not the one with kids, so it's up to him.
Yeah.
And she looked at him and she thought he would never. Right. She thought he would never hurt these children.
Mm-hmm. He's like, done.
He's like, nah.
Let's do it. The hell with them.
Annabelle.
Get out of here. Vamos.
So Annabelle Lee really made him a good man.
Yeah.
Only while she was with him. And then all of his horrible flowers started to grow in the evil direction as soon as she was gone.
Yeah, but all those... So this guy never, ever had an original thought.
Right?
It was either his sister or he heard it from the Anunnaki. In fact, the drink he drank he didn't even know about it. Yeah. He just saw that she had it. She told him the whole story.
Right?
And he just repeated the whole story. The same thing he did, with what his boss told him. And then he told his children, word for word, verbatim, every single phrase.
Even the future that he built for himself, it was the same thing that Rufus Griswold was trying to do. Literally the same exact thing. And the only original thing that he did was say yes to the deal.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
The only thing. And meanwhile, Madeline, her entire life, believed the deal and decided, I'm going to attempt to overcome it and find a loophole by making myself immortal through AI.
Yeah, that's what she wanted to do.
And what an original idea.
And he didn't even believe it. And he's like, nah, I'm going to have not some of the children. I'm going to have all the children.
6 children.
Right? From different ladies.
Yeah.
So not only that, when she came to collect, he still didn't believe it.
Right? He was still like, well, what's happening here?
And she was like, you know what's happening.
Right?
Like, you're talking crazy.
Right?
That's not a thing.
I wonder if he had many more children that we didn't see.
That just died.
That just
walking down the street.
That she's like, God dang it, I got to kill this one and I got to
kill that one. Okay, this car is going to run this one over. Yeah. This one his parachute is not going to open. This one, the whole plane is going down.
This is why you need to know the survival tips in case your father or your mother have made a deal with the Anunnaki.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're stuck with that person in a car. You're just a bystander.
Right. Well, I genuinely think that she did give those kids an option.
Mm. No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. And ultimately, she said, like, the lady with the chip, she said it could have been different. You could have been lying in bed. Like,
oh, right.
because
like
if not,
she said, this
he
is
would
how
he would have given a choice to the kid, to Lenore.
Maybe when she was giving them a choice, she was giving them a choice of how they would die, not if they would die.
How. Which the how would have been peaceful.
Would have been nice.
You just go to sleep.
Yeah.
And
like
that's
Lenore.
it. Yeah.
So you have to now explain to the entire crew, which is the audience,
the viewer, or listener,
your reasoning for saying that the ushers of Roderick and Madeline are short-sighted on this.
Yes.
And then I'll tell you my version.
I believe that they are short-sighted, okay? So there's this powerful being that is not human, that is an Anunnaki, okay?
These are survival tips, sort of,
yes,
right?
Yes, sort of. So he goes, and she tells him, listen, you're going to get CEO. You can do whatever you want. Give money away, help the poor. It doesn't really matter. I just want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And you're going to be immune to anything and everything. So if somebody's telling you you're going to be immune to anything and everything, go the Genghis Khan way. Try to take over the world. You're going to be able to do it. Okay, so you got to CEO. What next? Okay, now you conquer.
Get to senator.
Now, no, not yet. So you acquire more companies. The bigger the company, the more you acquire. In the meantime, you murder people left and right. You buy senators, you buy judges, you do everything you can, and then you go to presidency. And once you're president, because you are immune to anything and everything that's going to happen, what you go after that is, okay, I'm president, what can we do now? Oh, let's conquer. And then instead of the United States, you turn yourself into United Empire of the world. And then what do? Well, you start with Canada, up north, and then with Mexico, down south, right? And you start expanding, being a true colonizer and colonizing. So now you colonize the Americas. Okay. After colonizing the Americas, now you go to the old world, right? So now you continue, with France, Italy, Russia, China, Japan, everything. And you're immune because nothing will happen and everything will come out okay-ish.
Okay.
For you at least. And your family.
For a while.
Until it's time that you get that disease and you die. But in between, I think you can at least, do half of it. Maybe conquer the Americas.
Okay. To me...
That's why I think they're short-sighted.
I have a hard time cleaning the kitchen. Okay? I think that this is a lot of responsibility. And it's so stressful. You gotta trust a lot of people, and you gotta divide.
Listen, they're not gonna
the world without generals.
They're not gonna kill you. You're not gonna die.
No, she didn't say you weren't gonna die. She said you were safe from prosecution. Like, it wouldn't touch you. But prosecution is different from, like, someone going July 15th on you.
I mean,
the Ides of March are not just restricted to Rome.
Potato.
Okay.
I think he could have done it.
I think going the Roman Empire route is risky. A lot riskier than, sticking to your own.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he could have done more.
Okay, so let me tell you my version, because your version, I mean, you're definitely having a fun time.
Yeah.
You're enjoying yourself. Yeah. You're making the whole world miserable.
Yeah. I mean, but at the end,
Okay, so I would attempt to negotiate the deal further. I would...
Right at that point?
Yes, right at that point.
1980?
In 1980.
How so?
I would say, okay, Madam Anunnaki, I would like to modify the terms of this agreement and say, if you want to end our entire line, we need to have some stipulation on the consequences need to shift depending on what we actually do. If let's say power corrupts absolutely. Maybe this is an experiment to you. But if we go the route where we are actually improving humanity overall, which you will be the judge of at the end, completely. If we improve humanity sufficiently, you will spare, at the very least, our grand generation. So, maybe not our children, but our children's children. So that some of them will survive. The ones that you feel that are worthy.
Yeah, but if I'm an Anunnaki, that's not choice.
What do you mean it's not choice? What do you mean?
Yeah, because if you're giving them, trying to make that part of the deal, then you know that, I have to do the good thing or else, my grandchildren dies. You don't have the choice. You're doing it out of fear.
See,
the thing is, they could do whatever they want with the freedom of not being prosecuted. But I see it as, nothing happening to you all that time. What do you do with that? And that's why she said, I don't care what you do. I just want to see what you do.
So I hear you. But that can't be the only motivation of the Anunnaki, just to watch things happen. Because she says, when she kills Lenore, she says, there are aspects of the job I love and there are some that I don't. Clearly referring to, she doesn't want to kill Lenore. So, but because of the terms of the deal, she must.
Yeah, but she refers to it as a job.
Exactly.
Meaning that if it's a job, that means that she has supervisors. So if she has supervisors, that means there's a whole battalion of them. That means that their job is to continue humanity. Anunnaki.
Yes.
Yes, what the stories say. This is what the stories say.
I understand. But if what you're saying is true, and there's supervisors and there's a system and there's and they want to ultimately improve humanity, whatever that is, remember, that is the ultimate goal, which means that the terms should be able to be shifted to serve the overall goal. I mean, in the corporation that is the Anunnaki.
No, but I think they shift humanity. Remember, these people are immortal.
Right.
So they're not thinking in decades, centuries, or even millennia. They're thinking in, millions and probably billions of years plan. Okay.
But they're also very curious.
Yes.
And they like to observe people, right? Just to see what they'll do.
And at one point, she acted like humanity disgusts her.
Right. So I would take another tack then. If that didn't work, I would say, Madam Anunnaki, the deal I'm attempting to negotiate for
Objection.
You... Right. The deal I'm attempting to negotiate to you, in fact, would serve your observations more. Because, notice, I am attempting to do what we have been doing for millennia as human beings, which is to try and put ourselves in a higher survival situation given the circumstances that we have. So I want you to see where I can take it. This is an interesting experiment in and of itself of attempting to shift the deal. Even slightly, even one or two of our, it may not matter to you, our ancestors, but what if it does? And that possibility alone should mean that you would be willing to shift the deal even a little. And tell me your terms just slightly in my favor, and I guarantee you I will accept. And that way she can also offer a counter. So here's the other thing.
No, but this is not deal or no deal. This is not.
No,
of course it isn't.
Deal or no deal. She's saying deal or no deal. She's the one who's offering you something, and if you refuse, it's not like she's like, well, yeah, I'm going to kill you now. Remember Arthur Pym, she said, I have respect for you for refusing. She also must have respect for the person who says, it's an interesting proposition, let's continue this conversation.
I would say, could I be immortal like you? That would be my thing.
But see, that's an interesting, and I wonder if it would work, but it feels like it's a grab at power as opposed to a give. You have to make her feel like you're giving something in order to get something. And so here's the other piece of it. My other side is, let's say negotiation is totally off the table and I accept anyway. All right? I would still shift the way that I used that. I would not have any children. Oh my God.
That's what she did?
That would be awful. But I would use the company and the resources that I have to maybe attempt to adopt or have a lot of other lives improved and and maybe give the company in pieces once I've built it up to other families that can sort of continue the legacy in different ways so that my empire is not crumbling with just me.
Yeah. At one point, I thought that Lenore, she was a bastard.
Yeah, that was when you said that, I was like, that must be it, because there's no way we're going to kill Lenore.
Right? Yeah, I thought that because, the lady went to
her mom, yeah.
No, not her. Party. Her mom went to a party.
Yeah.
Which, okay, if she went to a party, that means she probably,
maybe she cheated before.
Maybe she's an adulteress. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe her daughter is a little bastard. But then, the guy's such an idiot that she could have duped him to, this is your daughter. That could have happened. Which I thought they were going to go that route, but they didn't. But in not doing so, they got to that cool monologue that the Anunnaki has about... think to her what's going to happen in the future, and hundreds of years she's going to have saved millions and millions of lives. That was a great monologue that she did.
Yeah, it was the most kind moment that the show had for anyone.
Right? Yeah. And how it was shot, like camera straight up, straight looking at the face, looking straight at the camera, shifting from face to face. That was a good scene. That was my favorite scene of the whole show.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too.
That and everybody dying, horrible death. Those were close second.
Yes. Well, I loved when Juno was finally happy.
Right?
Yeah, Juno got to take over the company, and it was...
And she got rid of the drugs in 3 years, really slowly.
I loved her monologue to Roderick about the 3 years versus a lifetime with him.
Right.
She was like, I've suffered a lot.
Yeah. I can do this.
Nothing.
This is nothing. I don't need you. Get out of here. Vamos! That's what she said. Yeah. And he never divorced her.
Right.
So she inherited everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
It was great.
And I liked... So Juno's character, I wish that they implied her backstory a lot.
Yeah, I wish she had more. I would watch a show of that lady.
Yes, a show of her. That would be so cool. A show of her. Oh, her and Arthur Pym.
Right?
Oh my God, what a contrast.
Yeah. Sailing around the world.
Oh, a dynamic duo.
Right? He kills them and she saves them.
Searching for the Anunnaki.
Right? In the search of the Anunnaki. Right? I would watch that show.
Watch that kind of that show.
Yeah.
Oh man, and Juno had a really great sense of style too. Mm-hmm. She always had a fancy fake leg.
Right? A really fancy fake leg.
Yeah. Fancy fake leg. So now we have to talk about Madeline.
Okay.
So we're back with Roderick's family home. Mm-hmm. He's in the room with Auguste Dupont, and he keeps hearing the chains down below, where they're not really chains. He just keeps hearing bumping. This is, again, what happens in the story in, what's the author's name? Edgar Allen Poe. This is what happens with Edgar Allen Poe, where his unnamed friend is talking to the ushers, and they keep hearing weird things in the house, and he keeps saying, no, that's Madeline. That's Madeline. And we only ever see Madeline once in that entire story. And she doesn't even have any lines that she talks about. But it's implied that Roderick has done something horrible to her. And in this, it's sort of implied too, and it was very, very creepy. I didn't like it at all.
You think? He just mummified her while she was alive. He didn't wait until she was dead. And see, here's what, it doesn't really make any sense, because he takes out her eyes, which, in and of itself, you take someone's eyes out, they're not going to die.
Right.
But he also had the tool that goes through your nose to scramble her brain. So if he would have scrambled her brain, she would have been dead.
I saw
that. So he get bored and just, the eyes is okay. This is good. She's done.
I saw that as he was using the tool to take out her eyes, even though it wasn't really meant for that.
No, but then he grabbed the knife. So he probably popped them out.
Is that how he did it?
Yeah, he went like, he licked her.
Ew.
He popped them out,
To those who are listening.
Right, to those who are listening.
I apologize for this.
He goes like,
no,
he licks the knife. He goes,
You're gonna disturb our listeners.
He licks the knife, and then he just scoops it. Like, you weren't you ever in high school, did you not dissect a pig or a little frog?
No, they didn't let us do that.
I did the little pig, right? And one of the parts were to get the eyes out without them popping, and it is harder than what you think. So he went with the little scoop, eye scooper.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, that's enough. Okay,
right?
Because we are our listeners are in their vehicles, right?
Okay.
And they are experiencing probably horrific things.
Just memories of high school.
No, it's not.
Is that still done in high school?
No, it's not.
I highly doubt it. When I did it was a little pig.
So that scene, it's I like her dialogue. Like when she just it's a monologue really, where she just starts to talk about how she hates the consumers for consuming.
Right. Yeah. It is. They just want to be us, or they made us be.
They made us be who we are, and they're upset because. And I'm like, Jesus, lady, like,
right?
Oh my God,
shut up, eat a dick. That's not a thing. Okay. I'm glad you're gonna die.
So. After she launches into her dialogue, we have to kind of back up a little bit to Roderick having a conversation with the Anunnaki in his office, where all of these hundreds of thousands of people are falling from the sky.
Right. It's just a shower of, it's raining. Hallelujah, it's raining men. Amen.
It was extremely disturbing, and you can just see that that's his legacy is just pain and death.
Millions and millions of people dead.
Jeez. It was really disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
So when Madeline gets into her dialogue, we have absolutely no sympathy for her whatsoever at this point, at all. No. Like, listen.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you never do. You never did. Yeah. You were like, so Charlie has this thing where if any character makes any wrong decision in the movie at any point, there's no coming back. Yeah. There's no redeeming them.
This person should die.
Right. That's literally what he says.
Movie. Nah, this one should die.
This one should die. And you probably think that Frederick's wife, who cheated on him, should die.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't cheat if she wanted to. But, the guy is an asshole, so I'm like, okay, it's kind of like, which one's worse?
Well, he's worse. He's way worse.
He's way worse. So, but I think she just to a certain extent, she should have followed what the Anunnaki told her. Just get out. She should have gotten out.
Yeah. The other thing that is really interesting about that is, like, I wonder if she was driven to cheat because her husband deep down clearly was like this horrible, controlling, manipulative person who, like, really needed a slave, not a wife.
Who all he did was just bowl in his house.
Yeah.
Just bowl.
Actually, all he did. He bowled in his house.
When he was happy, when he was upset, when he was concerned, all he did was just bowl.
Somebody in the prop department who got that set was like, "Can we just use the bowling alley all the time?
Let's just use it. It's a real bowling alley. We built it. It works. Let's just use it more than once."
I think that was a set in a real home.
Yeah, you think?
That they were paying probably $5,000 an hour.
An hour to rent someone's home just to record.
And they were like, "We're using the bowling alley."
Yeah. Well, it's $10,000 an hour if you use it.
Right. So, I have a lot of respect for that character. Actually, I thought she was great. I hated that he took her teeth out.
Right.
That was really disturbing.
Yeah. But she's fine. Yeah, at the end, he tells her this is what happens. She gets like a gajillion skin grafts.
Yeah, surgeries.
She helps. She does a.
After her daughter is dead.
Yeah, after her and in her daughter's name, she does a nonprofit to help people, and she helps people, and she's okay.
She's okay, and I wonder if the Anunnaki, if they go to all of these major political figures. Because clearly...
Well, according to the story, she did to all political figures, at least in the United States, and all, and all... In history. Like she says, at one point she says, which I find funny, like a client of mine said, you could shoot someone in the middle of the street and nothing would happen. Like, We all know who they're talking about. Yeah, they're not going to mention it, but we know who they're talking about.
I wonder what kind of deals she strikes. What other kinds of deals?
Right.
You know?
I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Because it's clearly things that they love. Things that they really love.
So, not a lot of tips. Not a lot of tips in this one.
I mean, yeah, I keep forgetting that we're supposed to survive.
Yeah.
Because this story is just about people sealing their own fate.
Yeah. In this one, just, don't be a douche.
Yeah. If someone replaces your eyes with little pebbles, little ancient Egyptian pebbles, I would say try to leave and don't try to attack them. You probably won't win that fight.
Right.
I mean, she does.
But then the house collapsed on them, so.
Yeah.
How about you? What are your tips to have survived the deal with the Anunnaki?
Yes. Let us know in the comments below. And let us know if there's other movies or even series that you want us to review.
Yeah.
I think we could cover a few. We didn't have very many survival tips in this one.
Yeah, it's just the final two episodes, kind of like seeing the story, how it ended. We just saw more horrible people die. And the only one that didn't die, two actually, which was his wife, or two wives.
Yeah, the two wives, and of course Arthur Pym didn't die, but he was prosecuted.
Yeah. Oh, and the fit guy, he also didn't die.
We never revisited him.
Yeah, he just left and
fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah. Huh. Went and kept on doing his YouTube, content creation.
I really hope he got with a nice lady who didn't want him to have sex with other women.
Right, eating ass.
Yeah.
Just don't eat ass unless you like it. If you like it, eat all the ass. And that is the tip of the day.
That is the tip of the day. So thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to be safe, be vigilant, and be the last one standing.
Always.